Alright, so we're having maths today, and we will be treating quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. I'm very well, Aisha. Thank you. Is it assignment, the English assignment? Okay, we're going to probably look at that later. Let's start with this one. So, quadratic equation. What's a quadratic equation? An equation like this, right? And it's a polynomial with the highest power of 2. It's an algebraic equation. Unlike your linear equation, say 2y plus 5 equals 10. The highest power of y, which is a variable, is 1. But if you look at this one, the highest power of your x is 2. So that's what we call a quadratic equation, alright? Now, in this kind of equation, by the way, this is an equation. A quadratic equation is an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Alright, it's an equation. That's why you have that equal to. So, it's an equation in this form. What a, b, and c are numbers. Alright? An equation in this form with a, b, and c being numbers, coefficients, right? Of the x of a of x squared, b of x, and c is just a constant. No. So today we're going to be looking at how to solve quadratic equation. All right. Now there are about 4 different methods of solving quadratic equations. 4 different methods. So 4 methods to solving quadratic equation. We have the factorization. We have the completing the square. We have the formula method, and we have the graphical. So 4 methods to solving quadratic equation. But for today we are going to be looking at the first one, the factorization method. Factorization method of solving quadratic equation. Are we ready? So, example number 1, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now, note, because the highest power of x here is 2, you're going to be having 2 answers for this value of x. 2 answers for x, right? You're going to be having 2 answers for x. Now, these answers, we call them the root of this equation. The root or the equation, the solutions of this equation. X squared plus 2x plus 1, you're going to have 2 values for x, right? So now, using the factorization method, how does it work? How do we use the factorization method in solving this? So the first thing you want to do, using the factorization method, note, you want to multiply your a by your c. In this case, our a is 1. We call this unitary, alright? Sometimes, okay, like we saw in the examples I wrote here before, you have 2. One of them has 2 as the coefficient of x squared, right? But in this case, you have 1. Whatever it is, maybe you have 1, maybe you have 2, maybe you have 3, whatever it is, the same thing applies. You want to multiply your a by your c, right? So you want to multiply your a by your c. What does that mean? You want to multiply the coefficient of your x squared. Whatever you have here, right? Multiply it by your c. So what is our a here? Our a here is 1. And what is our c? Our c here is plus 1. So that is 1 times plus 1. Or plus 1 times plus 1, the same thing. So that's going to give us what? 1. I repeat myself. The first thing you are going to do, the first thing you want to do is to multiply your a by your c. In other words, multiply the coefficient of the x squared by the constant. Before I even continue, sometimes you might be given an equation like, let me use the same equation now. You might be given your equation to be x squared plus 2x equals minus 1. Alright? So the first thing you want to do, you want to bring it to the order of this. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So you want to rearrange this so that you have something like this. In that case, you want to bring this constant over. You're going to be adding 1 to both sides. Add 1 here, and then you're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 0. At the end of the day, we now have this, which is in this form, right? So, back to factorization. Whenever you want to factorize, now, not all, okay, let me keep that. Whenever you want to factorize an equation, right, a quadratic equation, the first thing you do again, multiply the coefficient of your x squared by the constant. Multiply the a by the c. What is your a? Your a is 1. And what is your c? 1, right? So 1 times 1. Notice plus 1. Plus 1 is 1. If it were to be minus 1, it is minus 1. Minus 1 is not 1. Hello, Mommy Mirabel. Good evening. So this is 1. 1 times plus 1 is 1, right? Now what is the second step? What's the next thing for you to do? The second thing you want to do is to get the multiplicative factors, or let me say it this way. 2 numbers that would multiply and give you 1, that will also add up and give you plus 2. You want to get 2 numbers that would multiply and give you 1, and will also add up, will sum up to give you the what b is. 2 numbers that will multiply and give you this, what you got after multiplying these 2. 2 numbers that will multiply to give you this, and at the same time they will add up to give you what is your b. In this case, plus 2. Alright? So, let's write out what are the numbers that can be multiplied to give us 1. What are the numbers that can be multiplied to give us 1? We're going to have 1 times 1. Yeah? Is there any other thing we can multiply to give us 1? We can multiply minus 1 times minus 1. Minus times minus, plus. 1 times 1, 1. So that's plus 1, alright? Any other thing? Is there any other thing we can multiply? Any other integer we can multiply to give us 1? It's just these 2. So the next thing you want to do, among these 2, sum them up and ask yourself which one will give us plus 2. Which one will give us plus 2? Alright? 1 plus 1 will give us 2. Minus 1 minus 1 will give us minus 2. So we are working with plus 1 plus 1. Abdul, no. Is that a question now? Okay. So we are working with this one. This one will give us 2. That's plus 2. Like we have here, right? So that's what we're working with. Now, we are going to break this down. We are going to break this plus 2x to give us 1x and 1x, right? That's the next thing. Again, let me go back to the beginning. The first part is for you to multiply these 2. Multiply the coefficient here by your constant here. In this equation, the coefficient here is 1 and the constant here is 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. The next thing is to get 2 numbers that you multiply that will give you 1. Just write them out. Then among them, select the one that when you add will give you plus 2. Alright? Among the factors, the multiplicative factors of 1, among them, select the one that you want to add and will give you plus 2. So now we've written them out like we have here. 1 times 1 will give us 1. Also, minus 1 times minus 1 will give us 1. Now among these 2, which will give you plus 2? 1 plus 1 will give us 2, which is plus 2. Minus 1 minus 1 will give us minus. So we're not working with this one. We're working with this one. That's what will give us plus 2. We're working with 1 and 1. Hello, Barry. Good evening. So now we're going to break these 2x to become 1x and 1x. 1x plus 1x. So we're going to have x squared we're going to have x squared plus 1x. Of course, we know we don't write 1x by now. We write what? X, right? Then plus another 1x, which is x, right? Then plus 1 equals 0. So, what is the next thing? The next thing is for us to now group this into binomials. In other words, we're going to group them into 2 brackets of 2 terms. We're going to group this together. We're going to group this together. We're going to group this together. We're going to So, we will put this in the bracket, and we'll also put this in the bracket. Now what are we going to do next? We are going to factorize. We will factorize. Factorize this, factorize this. What does it mean to factorize? To factorize means to bring out the common factor. Now let me ask us. Hello IDK, good evening, welcome. So what is the common factor of x squared and x? What is the common factor of x squared and x? AMT, welcome. X, Barry says x. We started not too long though, welcome. Aisha, x, okay. Mommy Mirabel, x, okay. 1x, okay. Good, we are getting it. X, right? X. You can even use you can check using the HCF. What's the highest common factor? Yeah. X is here, X is here, right? So, you want to write it out in your brackets, outside of the brackets. Then in the brackets, you want to ask yourself, so x times what will give me x squared? Or, if that would confuse you, you can choose to divide to see what will be left, right? You can say your x squared divided by x, and this plus x divided by x. Why are you dividing? You want to see the other factor. When you divide this by this, what will be the other factor? In other words, x times what will give you x squared. Alright, that's why either you do it this way, or if you know it, you can just write it in without dividing. So now, here also, what is the common factor? X is here, x is not here. The common factor here is 1. 1. Alright, so you have 1 outside the bracket. Then you have the same thing, x over 1 plus 1 over 1 equals 0. The next equation, I'm not going to do this division, alright? I just want us to understand how we will get to the next step. So now, x squared divided by x. X squared divided by x will give us x, because x will cancel one of the x here, and then you're going to have just x. Then plus x divided by x, 1. Then we have 1 here. In brackets, x divided by 1, x. Then plus 1 divided by 1 is 1. Then bracket close equals 0. At this point, you see that what is in this bracket is the same as what is in this bracket, right? So it tells you that you're on the right path, right? What is here is the same as tells you you're on the right path. Now, what's the next thing we are going to do? The next thing we want to do is to pick one of these brackets. Pick one of them. Pick one of these brackets. So we have x plus 1. Then we pick these two terms outside the bracket, put them together in a bracket, right? And so we're going to have, this is x, and this is positive 1. So x plus 1 equals 0. What does this mean? Remember again, from the beginning, I told us that for quadratic equation, you have two solutions, two roots. You have two answers for the value of x, right? So at the end of the day, using factorization method, we've been able to break this down, right, into two binomial expressions. That when we solve this one, we'll get the value of x. When we solve this one, we'll also get another value of x. Now those two values are the solution to this equation. A quadratic, yes. So now, what is the next thing? What's the next thing? So this is equal to 0, or this is equal to 0. This x plus 1 equals 0. This also equals to 0. Even though they are the same thing, we'll get the same answer, right? Or x plus 1 equals 0. So what's the next thing? It means x equals to minus 1. X equals to minus 1. So that's the value of x. In this case, both numbers are the same. Now this is you solving a quadratic equation using the factorization method. Do we understand this? So example number 2. Two x squared plus 7x plus 6 . So 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0. 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0. Factorization. What again are we going to do? You multiply your A by your C. In other words, multiply the coefficient of x squared, which is what? 2. multiplied by your constant, which is what? Plus 6. Thank you, MT. Thank you very much. Thank you. So multiply your 2 by your plus 6. Note, always look at the sign. This is plus 6 here. So 2 times plus 6 will give us what? 12. So what two numbers will multiply to give us 12? Over to us now. What two numbers will multiply to give us 12? What two numbers will multiply to, IDK says 3 and 4. Okay? So 3 times 4. Alright? But you want to start with the smallest, alright? Go down gradually. You want to check 2, 3, 4 so that you will not miss out on any one, right? So let's start with 1. 1 times 1 will give us 12. Of course, 1 times 12. Now, when you've done 1 times 12, this is a positive number. Also note, because minus times minus is plus. You know that minus 1 times minus 12 will also give us 12. Because minus times minus is plus. 1 times 12 is 12. So, 1 times 12 is 12. Okay, good. Yeah, 2 times 6 for that. So, check 2. 2 times, yeah, 2 is a factor of 12. So, 2 times 6. What else? Minus 2 times minus 6. Can 3 divide? Yes. So 3 times 4. Minus 3 times minus 4. 5. No, 5 is not a factor of 12. 6. Yeah, we already have 6. Alright, so we've gotten all the multiplicative factors. So now amongst these ones, all of these here, which of them will sum up to give us plus 7? Which of these ones, which of these numbers here, pair of numbers, will add up to give us plus 7? Let's see. 1 plus 12, 13. Minus 1, minus 12, minus 13. 2 plus 6, 8. Minus 2, minus 6. Actually says, okay, 3 and 4. Minus 2, minus 6, minus 8. 3 plus 4, 7. Minus 3, minus 4, minus 7. And we need the one that will give us plus 7, right? So that's this. So 3 and 4. So we'll be working with 3 and 4. Good. Now, what's the next thing? We'll break down this 7x to become 3x plus 7 plus 4x. 3x plus 4x because we have plus 3 plus 4. So plus 3x plus 4x. So we have 2x squared plus 3x plus 4x. We've been able to break this now into this, right? Plus 6 equals 0. So now what's the next thing? The next thing is to group them, right? So we have this, and we have this, and this. So the next thing is to what? Factorize this, factorize this, factorize this, factorize this, right? Let's keep power tapping. Let's power tap on our screen. All right. Let's increase the light on the light already. So 2x squared plus 3x, 4x plus 6. Common factor of this. Common factor of this. What's the common factor of 2x squared and 3x? What's the common factor of 2x squared and 3x? What's the highest common factor? Barry says x. Alamileko x. Lady Trisha x. Charity x. Unknown says x. Hello Larex, good evening, says x. Mama x. Splendid x. Okay, good. So x is the common factor of these two terms. So we're going to have our x outside the bracket. Now, like I said, I won't do that one. What I did there, I won't do it here to save time. So x times what will give us 2x squared? Or maybe you want to try it there. So 2x squared divided by x, what will be left? X times what will give us 2x squared? Yeah, x. Okay, Barney says 2x. Yeah, 2x, okay. Yeah, 2x. So we are going to have 2x here. Again, x times what will give us plus 3x? X times what will give us plus 3x? Okay. So we are done factorizing this. Then we'll move on to this one. Factorize this also. What's the common factor? 4x and 6. Common factor. Highest common factor. 4x and 6. Highest common factor. 2. Okay. So we have 2. So 2 times what will give us plus 4x? 2 times what will give us 4x? Okay, 2x, good. 2 times 2x, 4x. Now 2 times what will give us 6 plus 6? 2 times what will give us plus 6? Good, we are all following. Good. So plus 3 equals 0. Now what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Let me ask us now, are we on the right path? Are we correct? Are we correct? Are we correct? Are we correct? I was asking us what makes you think that this is correct. Check what is in this bracket, check what's in the bracket, they are the same. So we are on the right path. We're on the right course. So pick one of them. You pick one of the brackets. You're going to have 2x plus 3. And what next? These two terms outside the bracket here, bring them into another bracket. And then you have x plus 2. Note that this 2 here is positive 2. That's a plus 2. And this is x, so equals 0. So these 2 here will give us the two values of our x. You solve this one to get one value of x. You solve this one also to get the second value of x. Let's do that. So we're going to have 2x plus 3 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. So it's either this equals 0, that's one of the value when you solve it as an equation, or x plus 2 equals 0, that's the second one also. So now 2x plus 3 equals 0, you're going to have what? You're going to have 2x equals 0 plus 3. You subtract 3 from both sides, you have 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 is minus 3. So we have 2x equals minus 3. Or x plus 2 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. What will happen? You subtract 2 from here and subtract 2 from here. So you have x equals minus 2. So x equals minus 2. So already this has been completely solved. We already have one value of x, minus 2. So let's solve this one. Let's get the value of x from this one. So what are we going to do here? We are going to divide both sides by the coefficient of x. And the coefficient of x is what? Is 2. So we'll divide by 2 here. We'll divide by 2 here. What comes to line? So 2 and 2, 2. 2 divided by 2. Alright, that's 1. 1x is x. So equals minus 3 over 2. Or minus 2. So x is either minus 3 over 2 or x is minus 2. Minus 3 over 2 is also what? Minus 1 whole number 1 over 2 or minus 2. C'est fini. And that's the solution. Or those are the roots of this equation. And this is how to apply factorization in solving quadratic equation. I don't understand how you get the minus 2. Minus 2, okay. X plus 2 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Alright? What we are supposed to do, okay, let me just say it this way. Your plus 2 moves over and becomes minus 2. But what we are doing is actually subtracting 2 from both sides, right? So we are going to have minus 2 here, minus 2 here. Then you have x equals to what? Minus 2. Use square method. We're not using the completing the square method today. We're using just the factorization method. Then in the next class we can move on to that. Do we understand? No, TLF, don't worry, we're going to maybe you understand with the next example. Well, number 3. Number 3. Number 3. So we have 2x squared plus 5x, okay. 2x squared plus 5x. 2x squared plus 5x plus 11. 2x squared plus 5x plus 11 equals 0. So we have to solve this, right? To get the value of x also here. Now, you're still using factorization method. What do we do? Over to us, what are we going to do now? So the way I explained with the first example and the second example, what are we going to do? Okay, no, look for two factors. What are we going to do? We put in brackets. No, that's not what we do. 11n minus 2 this is not minus 2. What are we going to do? Times the coefficient with the constant. Exactly, Bolex. We are going to multiply. The first thing is to multiply the coefficient of your x squared multiplied by the constant. That's the first thing. Number one thing to do, you multiply the coefficient by your constant. You multiply the coefficient by your constant, right? You multiply what you have here by this number here, right? Whatever is the coefficient of your x squared, multiply it by the 11. Number one thing to do, right? So 2 times 11 now, 2 times plus 11 is 22. Now what's the next thing? The next thing is to break down this 22, right? So you have to ask yourself, what two numbers will multiply to give you 22? What two numbers will be multiplied to give you 22? Exactly. So what two numbers can we multiply that will give us 22? What two numbers can we multiply to get 22? Abigani says 11. 11. Barry says 11 and 2. 2 and 11. So let's start with 1. Let's always start with 1. So 1 times 22 will give me 22. Minus 1 times minus 22. You don't miss that one. Because what you might be looking for might just be from the minus side. So 2 also. 2 times 11 will give me 22. Minus 2 times minus 11 will give me 22. Because minus times minus is plus. Is 3 a factor of 22? No. Is 4 a factor of 22? No. 5? No. 6? 7? Any other factor? No. Now, among these 4 pairs of numbers, which of them will give me plus 5 when added up? Which of them will give me plus 5? Which of them will give me plus 5? Is it 1 plus 22? Is it minus 1 minus 22? Is it 2 plus 11? Is it minus 2 minus 11? Which of them will give us plus 5? Stable for Christ says none. Lady Trisha says none. Are you sure? IDK says none. Okay, let's check. 1 plus 22 is giving us what? It's giving us 23. Minus 1 minus 22 is giving us minus 23. 2 plus 11 is giving us 13. Minus 2 minus 11. Oh, none. So what does this mean? It means that we cannot this kind of equation now cannot be easily factorized, so we cannot use this method in solving this. Now this is where the other methods of solving quadratic equation comes in. Now what I wanted to say earlier before I paused, not all quadratic equations can be solved using the factorization method. Not all quadratic equations can use complete. No, we're not doing that today. Not all quadratic equations can be solved using the factorization method, right? So, but let's know the factorization method today. So what happens in this case? Since we cannot use the factorization method, it's either you use the completing the square method or using the formula method. We're going to get to that. So we cannot solve this. Let's move on to another equation. So number 4 then. Number 4 says x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. X squared plus, okay, before we solve this, there's a way you can always check if an equation, if a quadratic equation can be factorized. If you can solve a quadratic equation using factorization method, you can use the discriminant. The discriminant. That is b squared minus 4ac. You can use this to check if a quadratic equation can be solved using factorization method. If you apply this and the answer you have is a perfect square. What's a perfect square? Look at, does anyone here know what a perfect square can be? Can anybody tell us what a perfect square is? What is a perfect square? Anybody wants to help us? What is a perfect square? No, I'm not asking for examples of perfect square. I'm asking for like what exactly is a perfect square? What's a perfect square? What's a perfect square? Okay, like 4 you mentioned, and 16 also, blood. Those are examples of perfect squares, yeah? A perfect square is a number whose square root is in Thank you, Operator. Thank you. Perfect square is. So, a number whose square root is whole is rational. A number like 4. What's the square root of 4? What's the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is 2. How about the square root of 5? How about the square root of 5? The square root of 5, 5 is not a perfect square. Why? The closest, so 2 square will give us 4. The next number, 3 square will give us 9. So that means the square root of 5 will be between 2 and 3. So it's going to be 2 point something. In that case, 5 is not a perfect square. So now, examples of perfect square: 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 47, 64, 81, 100, 144, 121, and so on and so forth. Now, all those are what we call perfect square. So, if you apply this, and the answer you get is a perfect square, then that means that equation, that quadratic equation, can be solved using the factorization. Let's apply it on this one. In fact, let me bring that other one. Let's see what it will look like. So we had 2x squared plus 5x. 2x squared plus 5x plus 11. 2x squared plus 5x plus 11. Let's apply this thing here. Remember, a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant, right? So our b, what's b here? B here is plus 5. So plus 5 or 5, anyone, squared, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 11. So 5 squared is 25, minus 4 times 2, minus 8, minus 8 times 11, minus 88. So 25 minus 88. 25 minus 88 is giving us minus 63. Yeah, minus 63. Now this is not a perfect square. This is not a perfect square. So we cannot factorize this equation. Now let's check this one. Let's check this one. Using that same b squared equals the b squared, sorry, minus 4ac. So what's our b here? Our b here is 4. So 4 squared minus 4 times a. What's our a here? Our a is 1. So times 1 times c, which is 4, times 4. So b squared is 16. Minus 4 times 1. Minus 4. Minus 4 times 4. Minus 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. So 0. Can we factor? Can we use this? Can we use this? What's the square root of 0? Is 0 a perfect square? Is 0 a perfect square? Is 0 a perfect square? What's the square root of 0? What's the square root of 0? What's the square root of 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. No, not 1. Let's check. Let's check. Alright? So let's see if we can factorize. So 1 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4, right? So what two numbers can we apply? Can we multiply to give us 4? We can multiply 1 times 4. We can multiply minus 1 times minus 4. We can multiply 2 times 2 and minus 2 times minus 2. So which of them will give us plus 4? Which of them will give us plus 4? 1 and 4 will give us 5. Minus 1 minus 4 will give us minus 5. 2 plus 2 will give us 4. Minus 2 minus 2 will give us minus 4. So we're working with plus 2 plus 2. Positive 2 positive 2. So this is going to give us x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4 equals 0. Bracket this, bracket that. So factorize this. What's the common factor here? X squared plus 2x. What's the common factor? What's the common factor? What's the common factor between x squared and 2x? X. Good. So we have x Now, x times what will give us x squared? X times what will give us x squared? X times x, good. So we have x times x. Now, x times what will give us plus 2x? X times what will give us plus 2x? Yeah, 2. So plus 2. Plus 2. Now we have plus 2x plus 4. Factorizing also. What's the common factor of plus 2x and plus 4? Plus 2x plus 4. 2. So plus 2 also, 2. 2 times what will give us 2x? 2 times what will give us 2x? 2 times x. 2 times 1x, which is x. 2 times what will give us plus 4? 2 times what will give us plus 4? 2. Okay, so plus 2. So we have x plus 2, we have x plus 2. Equals 0, of course. So we'll pick one of this, x plus 2, and these two terms, x plus 2 equals 0. So what's the next thing? The next thing is to equate this equals 0 and equate this equals 0. So it means that when the answer is 0, when the determinant gives you 0, you're going to have one answer. For the value of x, you're going to have one answer. Just like the first one, that's what it means. So now, let's see. X plus 2 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. So x plus 2 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. So this will give us x equals minus 2, or x equals minus 2. So if your determinant is giving you 0, what it means that x will have just one answer, like we've seen here. Even that first one, let me see if I can get that first equation. Okay, the first equation we have here was x squared. The first equation we had here was x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. I hope so, yeah? So let's apply that b squared minus 4ac. I guess we're going to have 0 also. So b squared, our b here is 1, minus 1. So minus 1 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 6. So what is minus 1 squared? Minus 1 times minus 1. Minus times minus plus, which is 1. Minus 4 times 1. Minus 4 times 6. Minus 4 times 6. Sorry, this is minus 6, sorry. So minus 4 times 1, minus 4. Minus 4 times minus 6. That's plus 24. Plus 24. So 1 plus 25. Oh, sorry, 1 plus 24. 1 plus 24 was 25. And this is a perfect square. Was it this one we solved that we got? There was one we solved. I tried to get the equation we solved, and the answer for that was x equals minus 1. I don't know if it's this one. But if we are applying the b squared minus 4ac also on that equation, it will give us the same value as 0. Alright? So what it means is that anytime you use b squared minus 4ac, right, and the value you get is a perfect square, you're going to get, you can factorize it, right? But the value you get is 0. It means you're only going to get one answer, right? But if you get a non-perfect square, it means it cannot be, you cannot solve you cannot solve that equation using this way of factorization, right? I think every quadratic equation can be factorized, but not this way. Sometimes they'll give you complex roots and all of that. So let's continue. One more and one more. One more. So we have x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. X squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. This is when we will do binomials. X squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. So what are we going to do here now? What are we going to do? Okay, blood, no problem. So for those that have been here since, we are solving these ones ourselves. What are we going to do? What are we going to do this time? Now, before we get to the factor place, Mnet, what are we going to do first? Okay, Fidel, please send me a message. I'm going to reply you from there. Thank you, AMT. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. What are we going to do? Yes, Bolex again. That's it. Hello, Shayade Design. Good evening to you. Welcome. Minus 4 times 1. Okay. Yes, that's why, Morgan, that's why my hands are in my pocket. I'm waiting for it. What are we going to do? Okay. Okay. Hello, welcome. Welcome. Multiply the quotient of times of x squared and the constant. Okay. You know what? Can we solve this one? Let's solve this one ourselves. Let's solve this. Of course, it takes practice for perfection of knowledge, right? So let's solve this one. Let's solve this one quickly. Let's solve this one ourselves. Quickly, let's solve this. To be sure that you've gotten it, all right? Let's solve. Let's solve. Let's solve. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let's solve. Let's solve. Let's solve. X squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Factorize. Solve this equation using the factorization method. Thank you again, EMT. Thank you very much. Guys, please, you want to follow EMT. EMT also does mathematics videos like this. He does upload of stuff like this. Please do want to follow him up. If you're stuck, use quadratic formula. Okay, we're not using the quadratic formula just yet. Amabla, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you. Oh, some people are done already. 1 and minus 4. Okay. Mobolanle, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sharpest, thank you. Thank you. Online tutorial. Okay. Thank you for the rose. Appreciate it. Sir Mohammed, thank you very much. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Are we done? Are we done solving? Are we done solving? Are we done solving? X squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Please, what's your IG? Let with Austin 101. 1 minus 4. Even on YouTube, let with Austin 101. By the way, we can watch this video again on YouTube. It will be uploaded there. So you want to follow us also on YouTube. Let with Austin 101. Can I do what, please? Nawang. Yeah, we're going to. Mr. Shaggy. Yeah, because we are doing. Okay. What are our answers? What are our answers? So, factorization of quadratic equation again. What do? You multiply the coefficient of your x squared by the constant. And what's the coefficient here? 1 multiplied by minus 4. 1 times minus 4 will give us what? Will give us minus 4. So, what's the next thing? The next thing you check. What two numbers multiplied will give us minus 4? What are the multiplicative factors of minus 4? What two numbers when multiplied will give us minus 4? Of course, 1 times minus 4 will give us minus 4. Or minus 1 times 4 will give us minus 4. What else? 2 times minus 2. Or minus 2 times 2, the same thing. So we have these three pairs of numbers. 1 times minus 4. Minus 1 times 4, 2 times minus 2. So which of this will give us this minus 3? Let's sum them up. Let's see. 1 minus 4 will give us minus 4. Sorry, minus 3. Minus 1 and 4. Minus 1 plus 4 will give us 3. 1x minus, so minus 3x will become plus 1x minus 4x. Alright, so we're going to have x squared, then minus 3x becomes what? Plus 1x, which is plus x, minus 4x, then minus 4 equals 0. What's the next thing? Factorize each one. So x squared plus x. What is the common factor? X squared and x. The common factor is x. So we have x into bracket. X times what will give you x squared? X times what will give you x squared? It's x times x. X times what will give you x? X times what will give you x? X times 1, so plus 1. Then we come to this bracket also. Minus 4x minus 4. Minus 4x minus 4. Common factors. Or for common factor. 4. Minus 4 because minus 4 minus 4. Yeah. Minus 4. Yeah, favor. Thank you. So minus 4 into bracket. Minus 4 times what will give us minus 4x? Minus 4 times what will give us minus 4? Now 1x, yes. X. Then minus 4 times what will give us minus 4? Minus 4 times what will give us minus 4? Minus 4 times what? X. Minus 4 times x is minus 4x. Minus 4 times, yeah, plus 1, good, 1. So minus 4 times plus 1, so equals 0. Now, we check and then they say, good, so we are going fine. Then what's the next thing you want to do? The next thing you want to do is to pick one of this, right? Then this one's outside, put them, group them also. So we have one of these to be x plus 1, and then these two to be x minus 4. So equals 0. In other words now, this will be solved to give us the value of one value of x, and this also will be solved to get one value of x. So x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. So we're going to say x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. So now x plus 1 equals 0. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides, and then x equals minus 1, or add 4 to both sides, and we have x equals what? 4. So we solve this, and the two values of x are what? Minus 1 or 4. So those that got it, well done. Semex, wrong? Well done, everyone who got minus 1 and 4. Well done. Yeah, now 1, maybe later. 1, okay. Yes. Yes. Did we all get this? Did we all get this? For those of you that solved it, was this your answer? Okay, I got 1 or minus 4. Oh, minus 1 and 4. Plus 1, yeah, minus 1, minus 4, 4. Yeah, minus 1, 4. Yes. Yeah, we are done. This is just it. Simple, right? The TJ Ash. Okay. It's correct. Yes. Alright. Okay, now this will bring us to the end of today's class. Alright? I'm just going to drop assignments. So we are calling it in there already. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Thank you. Thank you. Any question? Any questions so far? In factorization, yeah, it is. Any question? Thank you, Tino. Thank you, Tino. Thank you. Hello, student. Thank you, LT. Where are you going to apply? You can Google it. Assignment, yes. I'll bring up assignments now. I just joined. Maybe you want to watch the video on YouTube. If you're not following us on YouTube, you want to do that now, please. Check out Learn with Austin 101 on YouTube. Bring out what is in the bracket. Exactly, yeah, that's what we did. X plus 1, yeah, that's x plus 1 equals to 0. That's what we did here. We brought it out. Or x minus 4 equals to 0. So then we continue from there. Mr. Brainstorming, we do maths and English. Maths and English. Okay, assignments now. the factorization method of solving quadratic equations. I'll find the roots of the equations. Number 1, 5k squared. 5k squared plus 4k minus 1 equals 0. Number 2, x squared minus 5x